Good ball game, and you could see why Penn produces championships and their regional appearances. They're a tough group. They're well coached. They battle. I knew this was going to be a different day. We ended up performing, and we took care of business, but not game control like we had last night, clearly. So that's a tribute to their toughness, and they're a good team. Volini, 4 pitches in play. Anytime you have that, he was throwing strikes. I don't think his command, again, was quite as crisp as we would like it to be, but you do have 4 pretty good pitches in play. And he was challenging contact, and they were on it a little bit. We did make some nice defensive plays scattered around the field. The play at first base was a huge one. Miles, I think the bases were loaded when he grabbed that line drive. Gage and right, the diving play that was a 7-4 and left. Carnes, beautiful. Fisher, the unassisted double play with Farrow, and the double play to end the game. Those are really good defensive moments that we need to continue to display. We gave them a threat. Volini struck somebody out, and the ball actually got through Carnes, and Carnes caught a beautiful game, but that happened. And then Miles, the little chopping slow ball to first that I think he tried to rush a little bit to try to create a double play, and all of a sudden you're in a position to have 2 outs and you have none and 2 guys on base, and that drove his pitch count up a little bit. But you have to pitch through some traffic as a starting pitcher, and I thought he did that. And Gage's 2-strike triple in the corner was a big moment. The sac fly later in the game was big, and then Carnes had good at-bats all day. I think the ball to right center, the home run off the scoreboard, and then the ball through the middle, you can kind of see the hit ability that he has and the strength, and he runs, and he did a nice job. So I was pleased with it. I thought our relievers were okay. I don't think it was as good as I've seen them individually in their time here, but it was enough to get a win against a competitive, good, hard-nosed team.
I think sometimes when guys aren't starting every day, you see them press sometimes. Just how impressed were you with Carnes' mature approach to be ready and go out there and do what he does and play?
Very mature, and you don't feel like that's a freshman. You just don't. Brad works so hard with him on the catching part, and he's caught beautifully. Coming into this, we knew that was an area he needed to learn and grow. I mean, what high school senior doesn't need to work on that? They've never caught stuff like this with any consistency. And then blocking it and throwing it and dealing with the pitch calling and all the things that we ask of them back there. Very mature. And then the at-bats, they're really strong. And the pitch recognition and the ability to take some pitches and use of the field. He drives balls, and not only to right center field, but out and center field power, and he's starting to pull the ball a little bit more. So the sky's the limit for him, and he is playing beyond his age.
Coach, what goes through your mind as a coach when you see your freshmen just click like that early in the season?
Well, you want to keep developing those guys, and it's a long season, so there's things coming at them that they haven't experienced just with the length of the season. The high school season's 25 or 30 games, and that's not going to get us to the halfway point of this thing. So it's a long haul. It's so nice to have those talented kids on campus. Our sport, these guys can sign professionally out of high school, and that was the case for some of these guys. So to actually have them here and know what this program and the resources we have can do for them in 2 or 3 years' time, that's huge for the program. And you hope you can take talented kids like that and plug them into the right spots and see them perform. And we are seeing that. And they have things to work on. Like, this isn't a finished product, but it is good to land those guys, and then it's very important that they have opportunities to go play and learn.
I know you guys had some pop last night, but today just to see Gage with the triple, Hunter's got multi-base hits, Modis goes yard. Just how happy and encouraged are you by that?
You're going to have it, and our offense will be different this year, but we need to be able to deliver blows. And when you really look at it, honestly, up and down the lineup, the ability to do that is there. How many do we get? I don't know, but there's some strength and power in the lineup. So I think it revolves around the pitch selection as much as anything, and giving yourself an opportunity to make sure you're getting pitches that you can square up. And if we do that, this group will hit some home runs, and we needed it. Yesterday's game, we pulled the exit velocities. There were 13 balls hit 100 miles an hour or more. I don't know if I've ever seen that in a game. I also don't know if I've seen 20 hits with 19 of them being singles. But you can dig into it and see that the impact is there. Like the capability to do it is there. And it was nice to see it happen a little bit today, because the home run is a huge part of it. The extra base hit needs to be a part of the offense. And when you have that ability, and you also have the base running ability, the base stealing capability, then your offense starts to take off a little bit. And then you mix in, like today, the base hit bunt when we needed it. There's a chance this clicks. It hasn't been consistent enough yet, but you see little spurts and signs of it all.
I feel like most of Lodi's homers last year were the pull side. Just how much have you seen him develop with the backside power this last year?
A lot. I think he's just more confident in letting the ball travel, and I think the swing plane, he's flattened that out a little bit. So some of those balls, the further away from you the pitch is, the more the bat tends to have that natural tilt to it. So you have to process and track and target the pitch that's away from you differently if you're going to actually hit it. And I think at times he was fouling a lot of them off, and there were some fly balls to right. Now those balls are impacted, and you can hear the ball off of his bat. Even the one he missed today, did he fly out to center late in the game? Like, you can hear the impactability that he has, and he's very strong, and he's in sync with what he's doing. So all of those things allow him, swing plane, depth of contact, and the natural strength is why he's driving those balls the other way with like real authority, versus maybe they were fly balls and occasional foul balls last year.
You talked a lot about defensive run prevention. Do you care to quantify it, or is it enough to say, attaboy, the next guy go do it?
Well, I go through every one of them. Like I have a section on my card here that I write down like the above average plays. F9, 7-4, 6-4-3 to end it. Karn stuff, the 5-3, the ball Miles jumped for. Rose, little unassisted double play. We needed it. Anytime you record 2 outs, I always say that that's an above average defensive play. So it is a big deal, and it saves your pitching staff. And again, I talked about the moment today where we created some opportunities for them by not really playing sound defense. But I think over the long haul, we're going to be in the plus column more than the wrong column on the ability to grab outs and restrict innings. It's a huge part of our team, and every team's different. That needs to be a big part of this team, and that's why I always, and I did it last year, but I make note of some of those things, because they may forget about something that happened in the first inning, but they need to understand that, like that play Miles made that he jumped, I think it was the same inning he might have made the error. If that ball gets into the corner, those bases are cleared. So it's hard to have a metric to measure the impact of just that one play. It goes down as an L3. Well, it's not. Gage's F9 is not just your ordinary F9. The one, I think that was in the 9th inning, the little flare that he came and grabbed. So that's the hardest thing in our college sport to actually measure and quantify, is the impact of those particular defensive plays on the outcome of the game. Like, it's a good play when it happens, but the measuring tool for that is a difficult thing to come by, other than my card and me talking about it.
Gage fouled off a couple pitches before he hit that triple to opposite field. I think he only has 1 K this year. So what can you say about the barrel control and ability to spray the ball to all fields? He's
got it. I mean, that's a slashing left-handed, that Johnny Damon-ish. I kind of think a comp, maybe Johnny Damon, and there's some power to all fields there. And it doesn't just have to be lifted. I mean, those balls are driven. Like, he's hitting balls hard down the left field line. I think he hit one off the poor pitcher, took one off the shin last night. That ball was hit over 100 miles an hour. And we saw the other day the ball, I think he led off the game with the ball he hammered to right field. So it's awesome to see that. And he's a good bunter, and he's a savvy base runner. And his base stealing's coming. Like, I think sometimes he may force it a little bit, and the jump may not quite line up, and we have to temper that some on the bases. But he's showing the ability to be a complete player.
So I think you're talking about wanting pitching depth on a Saturday to have Joe Charles as like the third guy that you brought out of the bullpen, or is that safe for where you guys are at?
We're in a pretty good spot. And honestly, it wasn't quite as sharp today, like Abraham. And we needed to have a short leash, but he'd been so good in that kind of steady the game mode that we went to him. But it does say a lot. And Mason Martinez, and there's other guys that are waiting. Benny Barrett, like, I had a good talk with Ben in this weight room this morning. We were both in here working out, and there's some octane there too. So we do have depth. It's got to be a little bit more sharp than it was today, but we've seen it sharper than it might have been today. But to have him be your third guy out of the bullpen, that's where we are with this. Now, who ends up as the more leaned on leverage guys, I don't know. But we have a lot of dudes that are capable of missing bats and punching people out and helping our team in those leverage moments. We have a lot.
I know you're just coming off the field, but do you have a feel for where Chase is at right now?
I think he's actually fine. But once you tweak that thing, I think it almost scared him more than anything. And we have personnel that we can play. And I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to force Jackson West, the guys that are a little beat up. Their time's coming, and when I feel like it's right and not forced, we'll get them in there. But that didn't seem right, and I think he's fine. Like Phil said, oh, he's fine. But it just looked like he was laboring a little bit with that thing, and I didn't want to push through something at this time in the season, and you have capable people that are there waiting too. Good?